All right, here we are in your third video of this week, and it's on using multiplication and division to find those equivalent fractions. Now, we've done this already, so again, this is a review, but this is specific multiplying and dividing that we're doing when we're working with fractions that have a denomination of 10 or 100. So here we go. So we talked in the last lesson about how that's not useful. 3/10 would be equivalent to 30 hundredths. And I was hoping you might notice that this is just 3 times 10, and this is just 100 times 10. So if I multiply both my numerator and my denominator by 10, or multiply my fraction by 10/10, then I get an equivalent fraction of 30 hundredths. We can see that in the picture, right? Like, it's the exact same square, it's shaded the exact same way, it's just partitioned differently. If we look here, if I were to take this, and this is not going to be perfect, but I'm going to do my best. If I were to take this and I were to partition it so that I had, doing better than I thought I would. Is that enough? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more. What I did was I took the tenths and I multiplied them by 10 by cutting them into 10 rows. So what I did was I took my 3/10, cut them up, multiplied them by 10, and ended up with the 30 that's over here. So in reality, what I did, I'm going to erase all this, show you one more time. I started with 3/10 and I changed it into 30 hundredths. And the way I did that is I multiplied by 10 over 10, because 3 times 10 is 30 and 10 times 10 is 100. Let's look at the next one. Here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tenths. If I multiply that by 10 over 10, I am going to get what I have over here, which is 90 hundredths, because 9 times 10 is 90, and 10 times 10 is 100. All I did was I took this same picture and I partitioned it. This time is way more like what I was expecting last time. I partitioned it so that I had 10 horizontal groups as well as 10 vertical groups. Here, I have 10 hundredths. Here, I have 1/10. Now, I didn't multiply, did I? I divided. I divided by 10 over 10. Do you notice this similarity between the two? And the difference between the two? The operation changed, but the fraction I'm using to find the equivalent fraction, the multiplier or the divisor, it stayed the same. Because basically what I do is, and I can't draw this for you, but I take away all these lines by dividing, and then I end up with what I have over here on this side. So let's see, is 2 100ths equivalent to 2/10? One bad example. 1 2 hundredths. 1 2 tenths. So we can see by the shading that no, they are not equivalent. We can also see that if I look at that, what I had before, 2 hundredths, I would have to divide by 10 over 10 to get tenths. Is 2 divided by 10 2? No, it's not. So that is not true. They are not equivalent. Is 45/5 equivalent to 4/10? Let's shade and find out. 10, 20, 30, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 4/10. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, they are not equivalent. The same amount is not shaded. In fact, instead, we could say that 45/100ths is greater than 4/10ths because there's more shaded here on this side. All right, last slide. So the multiplier would be the number or the fraction that you multiply that first fraction by to find the equivalent fraction with the other denominator. So if I want 10 times what equals 100, it's always 10. 10 times 10 is always 100. So this has to be the same. The multiplier fraction or the divisor fraction has to be equivalent to 1. So the numerator and the denominator must be the same. That means 3 times 10 is 30. Okay? If I want 10 to be 100, I've got to multiply it by 10. If I multiply the denominator by 10, I sure better multiply that numerator by 10. So that means it's 80. So those are what are called multiplicative equations. We used multiplication to find an equivalent fraction. Now, the next ones we're going to do is we're going to do some division. So instead of having a multiplier, now we have a divisor. And the divisor is the fraction we divide by to get the equivalent fraction. You're not going to be surprised, though. 100 divided by 10 equals 10. These have to be the same. 70 divided by 10 is 7. 100 divided by something equals 10. Well, that something is 10. These must be the same. 40 divided by 10 is 4. Okay, so you're off to do your third section of your slides, the last section of your slides for the week. Your secret code word is multiplier. It is right there for you. multiplier, multiplier. And that's going on that last secret code slide. Off you go to get your work done. Remember to email me if you have questions, if you need a small group, if you need extra help, and you're not assigned a small group, you can always tell me, and I will always say yes and put you in the small group. I'm never going to say, no, you can't come to my small group. So if you need the help, please make sure you get the help. That is all. Off you go to do your math. Check in with me if you need me.